Hello and welcome. You have found your way to a place of solitude, a place of safety, a place of quiet ritual. It is time to let go of the day. It is time to find your own internal stillness. Let us begin with a breath, a slow, deep, conscious breath. Inhale and feel the air fill your lungs. Feel it expand, a cool, clean presence. Hold it just for a moment at the very top. And now exhale. Let the air leave you in a long, slow, quiet sigh. Feel the muscles in your shoulders begin to soften. Feel the small, tired muscles around your eyes begin to release. You are in a safe place. You are here to rest. Tonight, our journey takes us to the very edge of the world, to a place where the sea meets the stone. We are on a small, dark, rocky island. The night is vast and dark and deep. The sea is a great, black, breathing expanse of water, its voice a low, distant, steady rumble. The air is cold. It is clean. It smells of salt and wet rock and the deep, iron-rich scent of the ocean. And on this island, on its highest rocky point, stands the lighthouse. It is a tall, white, circular tower of stone, solid and ancient and strong. It is a pillar of safety, a silent, waiting guardian against the dark. At its very top, a great glass lantern room waits to be lit. But our story begins at the bottom. At the base of the tower, there is a single, heavy door. It is made of thick, dark wood, and it is set deep into the stone. It is arched at the top, like the entrance to a castle. This is the home of Silas. Silas is the keeper. A figure wrapped in a heavy woolen coat approaches the door. It is Silas. He is not a man in a hurry. His movements are deliberate and calm. He has performed this ritual 1,000 times. He reaches into his pocket, and his fingers find a single, large, heavy key. It is made of brass and it is smooth and cool to the touch, warmed slightly by his hand. He inserts the key into the large iron lock. It makes a solid, satisfying, mechanical sound. Ash, click. He turns the key. A deep, resonant clunk echoes from within the stone. The sound of heavy, well-oiled tumblers falling into place. He pulls the door open. It swings inward, with a low, heavy groan of wood on stone. It is a sound of welcome. Silas steps inside. He steps out of the cold, salty, windy night and into the deep, profound stillness of the tower's base. He pulls the heavy door closed behind him. It shuts with a final, definitive thud, and the sound of the ocean, the sound of the wind is gone. It is instantly muffled. It becomes a distant, low, almost inaudible vibration. He is now inside his sanctuary. The air in here is cold. It is a still, dry, subterranean cold. It smells of ancient stone and dust, and a faint, sharp, metallic tang of brass polish and oil. There is no light, save for the small storm lantern he carries in one hand. Its single golden flame casts a small, warm circle of light, illuminating the floor of smooth grey flagstones and the bottom of the staircase. The staircase is the lighthouse's main artery. It is a spiral staircase, made of the same dark, heavy iron as the locks. It winds up and up, disappearing into the absolute darkness above. It hugs the inner curve of the great circular stone wall. Silas places his foot on the first step. His boot makes a clear, solid, metallic sound. Clang. It is a hollow, ringing sound, the only sound in the vast, deep silence of the tower. He begins to climb. He holds the rope handrail on his right and the lantern in his left. His left hand, holding the lantern, casts a moving, dancing circle of light on the curved wall beside him. His right hand slides along the handrail. The rail is thick, made of old, heavy rope. It is worn smooth by the passage of his own hand, night after night, year after year. It is a familiar, fibrous, comforting texture. A guide in the darkness, he begins his ascent. His footsteps become a rhythm, a slow, steady, metallic song, clang. A pause, clang. A pause, clang. The sound echoes. It rings up into the darkness above him, and it rings down into the darkness below. It is a lonely sound, but it is not a sad sound. It is a sound of purpose, a sound of duty, a sound of ritual. He climbs, round and round and round. The tower is tall. The journey is long. This is not a climb to be rushed. It is a meditation. A transition. He is leaving the world of the earth and ascending to the world of the sky. The circle of light from his lantern slides over the curved, whitewashed stone wall. The wall is cool. You can see the texture of the stones beneath the paint. They are ancient and solid. Here and there, a small amount of moisture has seeped through, making the wall glisten in the lantern light. It is cool and damp and profoundly solid. This is a place of strength. This is a place of permanence. He continues to climb. Clang, clang, clang. The rhythm of his steps, the rhythm of his breathing. He breathes slowly, deeply. The air is cool and it feels clean in his lungs. He is in no hurry. He passes the first landing. A small arched window is set deep into the stone wall, no bigger than a loaf of bread. He does not pause, but his light for a moment illuminates the thick green bubbled glass. Outside there is only blackness. The sound of the wind even here is just a faint low moan. A distant, harmless voice. He continues. Up and up. The air begins to change. The deep subterranean chill of the base begins to fade. The air is still cool, but it is drier. The smell of dust and stone is now joined by a stronger, warmer, metallic smell. The smell of the great lamp mechanism waiting far above. The smell of oil and brass and heat. His legs are warm. He can feel the gentle, pleasant work in his thighs and in his calves. It is a familiar, grounding sensation. It is the feeling of effort, the feeling of purpose. His heart beats a strong, steady, quiet drum in time with his footsteps. Clang, and the beat of his heart. Clang, and the beat of his heart. The rope rail feels familiar and warm in his grasp. He passes the second landing. Another small arched window, another glimpse of the dark glass, and the impenetrable safe darkness beyond. He is very high now. He is almost at the top. The air is warmer here, a faint residual heat, left over from the great lamp's work the night before. It is a welcoming warmth, a promise. Finally he sees it, the top of the staircase. It ends at a small circular metal landing. And in the wall there is another door, not the great, heavy outer door. This is a smaller wooden door, but just as thick. It is painted a dark, warm red. This is the door to the lantern room. His final destination. He steps onto the landing. His boots make a solid, final clang on the metal floor. He stands for a moment, catching his breath, though he is not out of breath. He is simply arriving. He sets the lantern down on the floor, and the light now shines upwards, casting a dramatic glow on his face and on the red door. He reaches into his pocket again and finds a second, smaller key. A brass key for a brass lock. He inserts the key into the lock on the red door. It makes a precise, small, satisfying click. He turns the handle. And he pushes the door open. He is met not with a sound, but with a feeling. A wave of comfort. The air inside this room, even unlit, is warmer than the staircase. It is the smell of his life. The smell of stove smoke and old books and brewing tea and brass polish, and the vast, empty, clean smell of the glass. He steps inside into the darkness. He lifts his lantern, and the golden light floods the most wonderful, cozy, circular room at the very, very top of the edge of the world. He stands in the doorway. The small, warm, golden light from his handheld lantern spills into the room before him. This is the lantern room, the crown of the tower. He steps across the threshold, his boots leaving the cold, ringing iron step of the staircase and landing, with a soft, solid, muted thud, on a floor of thick, dark wooden planks. It is a new sound, a warmer sound, a sound of home. He reaches back and pulls the small, heavy red door closed. It shuts with a solid, satisfying click of its brass latch. The sound is small but definitive. The staircase, with its echoing, cold, stone-scented air, is now sealed away. He is now truly in his sanctuary. He stands still for a long moment. He just breathes. The air in here is different. It is warmer than the staircase. A residual warmth, trapped in the wood and the metal from the night before, but it is still fundamentally a cold room. It is a room waiting for warmth. A room waiting for its purpose. The air smells strongly of the things he knows. It smells of clean, cold glass, a vast, sharp mineral smell. It smells of brass polish, a faint, tangy metallic scent that lingers in the air. And it smells of machine oil, a deeper, richer, slicker smell. And beneath it all, faintly, the smell of the sea, a clean, cold, salty tang that seems to work its way even through the thick stone and glass. It is the smell of his life. It is the smell of his duty. He lifts the lantern high. He holds it up, and the small, golden, flickering light pushes back against the vast circular darkness. The shadows leap away from him, retreating to the curved walls, and the light reveals the room. It is a circle, a perfect circular room, perhaps 30 feet across. The inner wall where he entered is the solid stone core of the tower. But the outer wall is almost entirely glass. From his waist to high over his head, a magnificent, curving, sloping wall of thick, heavy glass panes. They are set in a heavy, dark iron frame. This is the eye of the lighthouse. At this moment, the glass is dark. It reflects his own tiny golden lantern flame over and over 100 times, 100 tiny flickering lights like a constellation of captive stars, reflecting back at him. Beyond the glass there is only darkness, a deep, impenetrable, absolute black. The black of the night sky and the black of the night sea merged into one. There is no horizon. There is only outside. His light swings and he moves forward. His footsteps a soft, solid thud, thud, thud on the old wooden floor. The planks are worn smooth, the grain raised, and they are warm to the eye, a deep reddish brown. They are a contrast to the cold, dark iron and glass. He brings his light to the center of the room, and it finds the lens. It is the heart of the room, a magnificent, colossal crystal giant. It stands in the very center, rising from the floor on a complex, heavy brass pedestal to a height well above his head. It is a masterpiece of brass and glass. It is not one single piece. It is a complex, honeycombed beehive structure of hundreds of individual curved prismatic pieces of glass. Each piece is thick and clear and perfect. Each one is cut to a precise angle and held in a beautiful, intricate golden brass frame. It is a machine for bending light, a work of art, a scientific marvel. At this moment it is dark. It is asleep. His small handheld lantern light does not pass through it. The lens is too complex for that. Instead, the light crawls over its surface. The golden, flickering light catches on the sharp, precise crystal edge of a prism, and for a second it fractures. It breaks into a tiny, brief, brilliant rainbow of color. A flash of red and green and deep violet. A hint of the lens's true hidden power. The light slides over the cool, smooth, curved glass surfaces. It reflects dimly from the polished brass frame, which smells faintly of that sharp polish, and that deep machine oil. This is the giant. This is the sleeping eye, a beautiful, complex, and silent machine, waiting for him and only him to wake it up. He moves past it. His light swings away from the great lens, moving to the inner wall of the circular room, the wall that does not face the sea. This is where his life is built, the small human-scale details of his existence. The light finds the small black potbelly stove. It is a squat, circular, heavy thing made of thick cast iron. It is cold. Its surface is a dull matte black. The small metal door on its front is closed, its handle a cool iron spiral. A silver-black stovepipe rises from its top, travels up for a few feet and then bends, disappearing into the stone of the inner chimney wall. It smells faintly of cold soot and old burnt wood. It is a promise of warmth, a potential. It is the counterpoint to the great lens. The lens is for the world. The stove is for him. Beside it, a copper scuttle, dented and dark, holds a small, neat pile of coal. And beside that, a simple wooden box, clean and neatly organized, filled with dry kindling and larger split logs of wood. Everything is in its place. Everything is waiting. His lantern light moves on. It finds his desk, a small, sturdy wooden desk, pressed against the inner curved wall. It is covered in his things. There is a large leather-bound book lying closed. This is the logbook. There is a small brass telescope, lying on its side, its lens cap on. It is pointed even now toward the windows, toward the sea. There is a block of paper, an inkwell, and a single black fountain pen resting in a groove. There is his teacup, a thick, heavy ceramic mug, the color of dark clotted cream, sitting upside down on a small cork mat. This is his small command center, his place of ritual and of comfort. And beside the desk, his chair, a simple wooden armchair with a thick, worn woolen cushion the color of oatmeal. The wood of the arms is worn smooth and dark from where his hands have rested night after night. It is a chair that is perfectly molded to the shape of its single human occupant. He turns, and he sets his lantern down on the desk. The room is now cast in a different light, a low, steady golden glow that illuminates the desk and the chair and the cold black stove. The great lens in the center of the room is now a vast shadowed giant. The windows are now just black, empty rectangles. He stands in the center of his room, his home, his responsibility, and he listens. He stands perfectly still and he listens. The sound here is different from the staircase. The wind is louder. It is not the distant, faint moan from the stone-wrapped stairs. Here at the top of the world, surrounded by glass, the wind has a true, powerful voice. It is a deep, low, resonant whoosh, a steady, powerful bass note. It is the sound of the vast, open, empty night. It is the sound of the Atlantic Ocean miles below, its energy carried up on the air to this high, lonely place. It is not a shriek. It is not a howl. It is too big, too vast, too steady for that. It is the sound of a planet breathing, a steady, profound, and constant presence. It is a sound that vibrates more than you hear it. He can feel it in the wooden floor beneath his boots. A low, steady, trembling energy. The energy of the whole wide, dark, wild world. And against the thick glass panes of the windows, a new sound begins. A faint pattering. He turns his head. The first sign of the storm, the rain. It is a light tapping sound. Tick, 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 patter, and patter, tick, tick. It is a clean, sharp sound, but it is also muffled, distant. The glass is so thick, the tower is so strong. It is a sound of the outside trying to get in, but the glass and the stone and the iron, they simply say no. They say Tatu are not here. The room is a fortress, a warm, safe, dry bubble perched in the very heart of the cold, wet, windy night. And Silas is its keeper. He is safe, he is home. And his work, his ritual is about to begin. He takes a deep breath, the cold, clean, oil and salt-scented air filling his lungs. He holds it, and he lets it out. It is time. Silas breathes in the cold, still air of his domain. The wind moans its low bass note against the glass. The rain patters, a light, distant, muffled drumming. His small handheld lantern sits on the desk, casting its simple, warm, static golden circle. It is the only light, but that is about to change. His first duty is not to himself. It is not to the stove or the tea. His first and most sacred duty is to the giant. To the great lens, it is time to wake it up. He moves away from his desk. His soft footsteps, thud, 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 are quiet on the thick wooden planks. He crosses the room, walking past the vast, dark, silent crystal structure in the center. He walks to a small wooden cabinet, built flush against the inner curved stone wall. It is made of the same dark wood as his desk. He pulls the small brass knob. The door opens with a soft woody shh, and the scent of the cabinet's contents greets him. It is a clean, sharp, specific smell. The smell of his tools. It is the smell of a special vinegar-based cleaning solution, the smell of soft, clean, lint-free cotton cloths, and the persistent, familiar, sharp tang of brass polish. He takes out his supplies, a small wooden-handled spray bottle filled with the clear, sharp-smelling lens fluid, and a stack of perfectly folded, soft, white cotton cloths. They are old but immaculately clean. He closes the cabinet door, click. He turns and he approaches the lens. He stands before it. It is a colossal, silent thing. His small human frame is dwarfed by its sheer mechanical crystal presence. The brass and glass are cold to the touch. He can feel the chill of the room radiating from it. He places his hand on the lens on one of the lower bullseye-shaped prisms. It is perfectly smooth and cold, like touching a piece of sculpted, polished ice. His warm, living hand is a contrast to the cold, sleeping glass giant. He begins the ritual. He is looking for impurities, the enemy of the light. He is looking for the faint, hazy, crystalline residue left by the salt spray, driven by the wind that manages to seep, even here. He is looking for the tiny motes of dust that have settled in the hours of daylight. His task is to make this eye perfectly, spotlessly, brilliantly clear. He takes the spray bottle and mists a small, fine, even layer of the cleaning fluid onto a section of the glass. The sharp, vinegary smell fills the air for a moment. He takes one of his soft white cloths and he begins to polish. His motions are circular, slow, deliberate, and gentle. This is not a chore. It is an act of care, an act of respect. The cloth makes a soft whispering sound as it moves over the glass. Shh, shh, shh. A sound of gentle friction. He polishes until the fluid has evaporated, and the glass beneath is so clean it seems to disappear. He moves to the next section. Mist. Shh, shh, shh. Polish. He moves to the next. Mist. Shh, shh, shh. Polish. Glass is cold against his fingers, even through the cloth. But as he works, a tiny, faint friction heat builds up on the surface and then is gone, swallowed by the cold mass of the crystal. The lens is too large to walk around easily, and too complex to clean all at once. It is a machine. It is designed to be cared for. He moves to the brass pedestal at its base. He finds a large brass lever set into the mechanism. He grips it, and with a steady, practiced fluid motion he disengages the gear. There is a solid, heavy, oiled clunk from deep within the mechanism. The lens is now free. He places his hands on the brass frame and he pushes. Slowly, with a low, almost silent whir, the entire multi-ton crystalline brass structure begins to rotate on its base. It turns smooth as water, a masterpiece of engineering. He moves it just a few feet, bringing a new, uncleaned section into his reach. He engages the brake, a solid thunk, and he begins again. Mist, ssh, 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 Polish. He repeats this process again and again, for how long he does not know. Time in this room is measured by ritual. It is measured by the slow, circular, meditative sound of the cloth on the glass. Shh, shh, shh. It is measured by the click and the whir and the thunk of the mechanism. He works his way, section by section, around the entire vast circumference of the lens. He polishes the large bullseye prisms at the center. He polishes the small rectangular prisms at the top. He polishes the curved, reflecting prisms at the very bottom. His hands know every curve, every angle, every cold, sharp crystal edge. Finally, it is done. The giant is clean. Its many crystal compound eyes are ready to see. He puts his cleaning supplies away. The cloth, now damp, is placed in a separate bin. The cabinet is closed. Click. The first part of the ritual is complete. Now for the second part, the heart. The power. He moves back to the heavy brass pedestal. This is not just a stand, it is the engine. The lighthouse does not run on electricity. It runs on a simpler, older, more reliable power. It runs on weight and time and clockwork. He opens a small hinged brass panel in the pedestal. It swings open with a soft, oiled squeak, and it reveals a new world. A dark interior world of gears, large brass interlocking gears, springs and levers and pals. It is the heart of a giant clock. And it smells wonderful. It smells of that thick, clean machine oil and the faint, warm, metallic scent of moving parts. He reaches for the crank. A large, heavy, brass-handled crank that rests in a custom-made clip on the side of the pedestal. He fits the crank onto a specific square-cut bolt deep within the mechanism. He braces himself, and he begins to turn. It is not easy. He is not turning a small spring. He is through these gears, hoisting a massive, heavy, cylindrical weight that is hidden deep in the central column of the lighthouse, a column that goes all the way down to the cold stone base. He turns, and the mechanism responds. It begins to sing. It is not a quiet sound. It is the sound of power being stored. It is the sound of a heavy metal ratchet pole clicking into place on a large geared winding wheel. Clack, he turns, clack, he turns, clack, he turns. It is a slow, methodical, deeply satisfying sound. It is the sound of potential energy. The sound of a promise. Clack, clack, clack. The sound echoes in the room. It is a hard, sharp, metallic sound, but it is as comforting to Silas as the sound of the fire. It is the sound of the lighthouse's heart being wound, being given its strength for the long, dark night ahead. He turns and he turns. His shoulders work. His arms work. He can feel the pleasant, familiar strain. Clack, clack, clack. It is a strong, steady, masculine sound. A sound of reliability. A sound of duty. He continues to turn until finally the mechanism resists. It stops. He has reached the top. The great weight is fully hoisted. The clock is fully wound. It now holds within its brass-coiled heart enough power to turn the great lens all through the night from dusk until dawn. He removes the crank. He places it back in its holder. Click, he checks the fuel. A small glass bubble gauge on the side of the lamp's central core. The oil is full, a pale, clear, clean liquid. He opens a small inspection port. He checks the wick. It is perfect, trimmed and ready. He closes the panel. Click. The second part of the ritual is complete. The giant is clean. Its heart is wound. Now, it is time to give it fire. It is time to give it a voice. He reaches into his pocket. He finds his matchbox. The same simple wooden box he used at the base of the tower so long ago. He slides it open. Shk. He takes a single long wooden match. He strikes it. F-s-s-t! A bright, sudden, sulphurous flare of yellow light. He opens a small glass ignition port at the very center of the mighty lens. He reaches in. He lights the pilot. A tiny, small blue flame springs to life. A tiny, quiet, almost invisible bead of light. He blows out the match. He stands back for a moment. The room is quiet again. The wind moans. The rain patters. The clockwork heart is silent, waiting. The small blue pilot flame is the only new thing. He takes a single deep breath. He reaches for the main fuel valve, a large brass wheel. And with a slow, steady, practiced hand, he turns it. Whoosh, it is not a bang. It is not an explosion. It is a deep, sudden, powerful and resonant whoosh, the sound of the fuel igniting. And in an instant, in a single brilliant heartbeat, the room is transformed. It is not dark. It is not lit by his small, tiny lantern. The room is flooded. It is flooded with a brilliant, steady and profoundly, powerfully warm golden light, the light of 1,000 sun-bright candles. It is so bright, it makes his small handheld lantern still sitting on the desk look like a child's toy. It looks like a pale, weak orange dot. The new light is brilliant. It is white gold. It is the sun, and then he engages the final lever, the rotational gear, clunk, and with a low, steady, powerful whir, the giant wakes up. The clockwork mechanism begins to turn. The great crystal magnificent lens begins its slow, steady, majestic rotation. The sound is a low, clean, mechanical whir. And the light. The light is no longer static. It is moving. The brilliant white D beam of light, focused by the hundreds of prisms, is now sweeping. And inside the room, the backspill of that light is also sweeping. The room is now in a new rhythm. The wall where his desk sits is plunged into a deep, warm shadow. And then, as the lens turns, the light sweeps across the wall. For a second, his desk, his chair, his cold stove are illuminated in a brilliant golden light. And then the light is gone and they are back in shadow. A steady, rhythmic pulse shadow, sweep of light shed. The room is alive. The great golden lamp beam sweeps the outside, a sword of light cutting through the rain and the blackness. And inside the room, the backspill, the residual light from that great lamp, creates the new pulse. A slow, steady rhythm of light and shadow. Light. The wall is illuminated. Shadow. The wall darkens. Light. The stove gleams for a moment. Shadow. The stove vanishes. This is the new heartbeat of the tower. The sound of the room is also new. Beneath the low, steady moan of the wind, beneath the soft, muffled pattering of the rain on the glass, there is now the sound of the machine. The low, clean, constant whir of the brass clockwork mechanism turning the great lens. It is a sound of purpose, a sound of duty. Silas stands in the center of this symphony of light and sound. His first duty, his duty to the world, is complete. The light is lit, the giant is awake, and now he can turn to his duty to himself. He can turn to the ritual of warmth. He moves from the pedestal of the great lamp, crossing the wooden floor. His footsteps are soft, thud, thud, thud. He walks in and out of the turning beam of light. For a moment he is a silhouette. The next moment he is illuminated in gold, and then he is a silhouette once more. He approaches his corner. His small, human, personal space. His domain. He stops before the stove, the small black cast-iron pot-belly stove. At this moment it is cold. It is asleep. It is an object of potential. Its matte black iron surface seems to drink the rhythmic light, reflecting almost nothing. It is a patch of solid, heavy darkness in his corner of the room. He kneels before it. The wooden floor is smooth and cool beneath his knees. He reaches first for the wooden box beside it. The kindling box. It is made of simple pine, and it smells of dry resin and dust. He lifts the lid. The sound is a woody shh. He selects his materials with the care of an artist. First, the tinder, a handful of dry, thin wood shavings, and a few curled pieces of paper-thin birch bark. He holds them in his hand. They are light as a feather, and they smell of dust and the dry forest they came from long, long ago. Next, he selects the kindling. Small dry twigs the size of his fingers, perfectly seasoned, brittle. He holds a handful of them. Finally, he selects one single small split log, a small wedge of oak, no larger than his forearm. Everything is ready. He lays the materials on the floor beside the stove. He reaches for the stove door. The handle is a spiral of cold black iron. He turns it. It makes a small sharp metallic squeak. Scree he pulls. The small heavy cast iron door swings open. It groans on its iron hinges. Screonk, it is a cold sound. The sound of cold iron on cold iron. And as the door opens, it releases a smell. The smell of the sleeping stove. It is a smell of cold soot, a smell of ash, and a smell of old cast iron. It is a dry, mineral and ancient smell. It is not an unpleasant smell. It is a smell of memory. The memory of 1,000 previous fires. The sweeping beam of the lamp washes over the room, and for a moment it illuminates the inside of the stove. It reveals a small dark bed of pale grey ash, the ghost of yesterday's fires. Silas does not disturb it. It is the perfect soft bed for the new fire. He reaches inside. He first crumples the handful of wood shavings and the birch bark, forming a loose, airy nest. He places it right in the center, on top of the cold ashes. The paper-thin birch bark curls in on itself. It is a promise of flame. Next, he takes the kindling, the small dry twigs. He arranges them with care on top of the tinder nest. Not flat, he builds them up like a small conical tent, a tiny log cabin, leaving plenty of room for air, for oxygen, for the first breath of the fire. He works methodically. His movements are slow and precise. The kindling makes small dry ticking sounds as he places them. Tick-tick-tack. The sound of dry wood in a cold iron chamber. The small structure is built. The nest is ready. The cabin is ready. All that is missing is the spark. All that is missing is the life. Silas turns. He reaches into his pocket and finds the matchbox. The same simple wooden box he used for the great lamp. His most humble work uses the same tools as his most grand. He slides the drawer open. Shk! The sound of wood on wood. He pulls out one single long wooden match. He closes the drawer. Shk! He pauses. He is kneeling before the small, dark, open mouth of the stove. The entire room is filled with the whir of the lamp, the moon of the wind, the patter of the rain. But here, in this small, ritualistic space, it is perfectly quiet. He holds the match. He holds the box. He sets the match head against the rough, striking strip. He takes a deep breath and he pulls. Sti! It is a wonderful sound, a sudden, bright and hopeful sound, a small, violent scratch, followed by a sudden ignition. And with the sound comes the light. A flare of yellow, small but brilliant, a tiny star born in his hand. It illuminates his face and his hands and the wooden floor with a warm, flickering golden glow. And with the light comes the smell, the sharp, chemical, clean smell of sulfur, a smell that cuts through the smell of cold soot and the smell of machine oil. It is the smell of beginning. He does not wait. He tilts his hand. He moves the small, flickering yellow flame into the darkness of the stove. He lowers it carefully and touches the flame to the paper-thin edge of the birch bark. He holds the flame there. 1, 2, 3. The birch bark hesitates. It blackens at the edge. It curls away from the heat. And then it decides. It accepts. A small, new and independent flame blossoms. Whoop! A tiny, soft orange ignition. It is no longer the match flame. It is the wood's flame. It is the stove's flame. It is alive. Silas pulls the match back, now blackened, and he blows it out. Pff! A tiny white curl of smoke, and it is gone. He places it in a small metal dish on the floor. Now all his attention is on the fire. The small orange flame on the birch bark is hungry. It grows. It licks at the wood shaving next to it. It spreads. It runs along the edge of the birch bark like a fuse. And it begins to make its own sound. It is not the crackle yet. It is a softer sound. A whispering sound. Hiss. It is the sound of the flame eating the thin, dry fibers. It is a sound of hunger, a sound of growth. The light inside the stove is growing. From one small single orange flame, it is now a small busy nest of flames, and they are reaching for the kindling. They are reaching for the dry twigs he stacked above. A flame licks at one of the twigs. The twig blackens, and then the first true sound of the fire is heard. Crack! A small sharp popping sound. It is the sound of the kindling catching. And now the sound changes. The whisper becomes a crackle. Crick, crack, crick, crack, and the light changes. From a low orange glow it becomes a bright, busy, dancing yellow light. The small stove now has a beating heart of yellow and orange light. The smell changes too. The smell of cold soot is overpowered. It is replaced by the wonderful, clean, dry and sharp smell of burning wood. The smell of pine. The smell of oak. It is the smell of warmth. It is the smell of comfort. Silas watches for one more moment. The fire is established. The kindling is fully lit, burning bright and fast. He reaches for the one small split log of oak. He picks it up. The wood is rough and cool. He moves it carefully through the open stove door and places it precisely on top of the burning bed of kindling. The flames instantly lick at the new large piece of food. They wrap around it. The fire roars for a moment, accepting the offering. Whoosh! The small oak log begins to blacken. His work here is done. He reaches for the iron door. He pushes it. It makes its cold screonk sound as it moves. He pushes it shut. Clank. A heavy, solid sound of metal on metal. He turns the spiral handle. Scree, the stove is sealed. The fire is contained. Silas does not stand up. He remains kneeling for a moment. The stove is no longer a matte black object. On the front of it, there is a small, intricate metal grate. And through this grate, the fire is visible. But it is different. It is not the bright, open sight of the dancing flames. It is a fragmented light. It is a red-orange pulsing glow that illuminates the floor in front of the stove. It is a glow that feels even warmer and cozier because it is contained. It is a promise of warmth being kept. And now the stove begins to speak a new language. The crackle from inside is now muffled. Crick-crack. But there is a new sound. The sound of the stove itself waking up. The metal, cold moments ago, is now being heated, and the iron expands. It begins to make small, sharp ticking sounds. Ting, tink! It is the sound of the metal stretching, the sound of the heat spreading, the sound of the machine coming alive. It is a wonderful sound, a sound of heating. Ting! And Silas can feel it. He is still kneeling close, and he can feel the first timid wave of radiant heat pushing out from the black iron belly. It is not the great fast heat of the large lamp. It is a slow heat, a steady heat, a human heat. He can feel it on his hands. He can feel it on his face. It is a heat that will grow. It is a heat that will fill his corner of the room. It is a heat that will keep the cold night at bay. His second ritual is complete. The light is lit, and now the warmth has begun. His small personal heart of iron and fire is beating in the corner of the room, and the rhythmic golden light of the great lamp sweeps the room, illuminating the small glowing stove and the man kneeling before it. Light, shadow, and the small stove glows in both. The ritual of the fire is complete. Silas rises slowly from his knees. The wooden floor is smooth beneath his hands as he pushes himself up. He can feel the new warmth on his face and on the front of his clothes. A gentle, steady, radiant heat is now blooming from the small black iron stove. It is a living presence. The stove itself is ticking softly as its metal expands. Ting! Tink! It is a sound of growing comfort, a sound of the cold being pushed away. The room is now held in a perfect three-part harmony. The low, steady bass moan of the wind outside, the constant mechanical, clean whir of the great lens turning, and now the soft, warm, rhythmic ticking and crackling of the stove. It is a symphony of safety. The light in the room continues its own rhythm. The great golden beam of the main lamp continues its majestic, steady sweep. Light. The desk is illuminated. Shadow. The desk vanishes. Light. The brass telescope gleams. Shadow. It is gone. This is the rhythm of his life. This is the pulse of the tower. Silas turns from the stove. The heat is a warm shield on his right side as he moves. He walks the few soft steps, thud to his desk, his place of quiet contemplation, his small human command center. He has given light to the world. He has given warmth to his room, and now he will give comfort to himself. He stands before the desk. It is a simple, sturdy thing, made of a dark, heavy wood, its surface worn smooth by years of logbooks and elbows. The rhythmic light of the lamp sweeps across it. Light. It illuminates the closed logbook, its leather cover dark and worn. It illuminates the small brass-capped telescope. It illuminates the dark glass inkwell and the waiting upside-down cream-colored mug. Shadow. The desk disappears. The only light is the small, steady orange glow from the stove's front grate and the dim ambient light from the great lamp's core. It is a room of deep, warm shadows, punctuated by a brilliant, sweeping golden wave. Silas has one more small task before he can rest. He reaches for the small black cast-iron kettle that he placed on the flat top of the potbelly stove just after he lit the fire. The stove has been working, its heat rising, and the kettle has been listening. He reaches for the handle, which is wrapped in a thick, worn leather cord. He lifts it. It is heavy, and it is wonderfully, profoundly hot. He can feel the heat radiating from the black iron. The water inside is not yet boiling. It is not screaming. It is just hot. A perfect steeping hot. He brings the kettle to his desk. He sets it down on a thick, round cork mat. The mat has a dark ring burned into its center, a memory of 1,000 previous hot kettles. The kettle makes a soft, solid thump as it settles. He turns to his cup. The thick, heavy ceramic mug, the color of clotted cream. It is sitting upside down, protecting its inside from the dust of the day. He lifts it. The ceramic is cool and smooth. He turns it over. Clink. He sets it down, a clean, solid ceramic sound on the dark wood. This is the cup from the video loop. This is the scene. He picks up the kettle again. The leather-wrapped handle is warm and dry. He tilts the heavy iron spout over the open mouth of the cream-colored mug, and he pours. The water streams out, a clear, clean, perfect column. It is not a violent pour. It is a steady, controlled flow. And it makes the most wonderful sound. A low, filling liquid shh. It is a sound of comfort. A sound of a vessel being filled. A sound of preparation. And as the hot water hits the cool ceramic, a cloud of steam instantly, joyfully billows up. It is a white, pure, beautiful cloud that catches the sweeping golden light of the lamp, and for one brilliant second it looks like a solid, glowing golden thing. Then it dissipates into the cool, dark air. He fills the cup not to the brim, but with just enough room. He stops pouring. He sets the heavy kettle back down on its cork mat. Thump! He turns to a small wooden box that sits on his desk. His tea box. It is a dark, polished wood with a small brass clasp. He flicks the clasp open, snick. He lifts the lid, and the aroma is released. It is his own personal scent of comfort. It is not the tea of the scribe. This is the tea of the sea. It is a dark, rich black tea, and it smells earthy and smoky. It is lapsang sochong. The leaves have been dried over a pine wood fire, and it smells exactly like his stove. It is the smell of wood smoke and resin and warmth. Mingled with that is the sharp, sweet scent of dried orange peel and the spicy, warm note of a single dried clove. It is a strong, dark, comforting scent, a scent to hold against the storm. He takes a small tin spoon and he scoops the dark, twisted leaves. He drops them into the hot water. Plink, plink. They swirl and they spin and they begin instantly to unfurl, to release their color, to release their scent. The water in the cream-colored mug begins to change. It darkens, from clear to pale amber to a deep, rich reddish brown. And the steam, the wisp of steam that now rises, is no longer just the scent of hot water. It is the scent of the tea. It is the rich, smoky perfume of the pinewood fire, the bright citrus tang of the orange and the deep warm spice of the clove. It rises, a thin, delicate, curling wisp, the one you see in the video. It rises, catches the invisible currents of the room and performs its slow, silent, hypnotic dance. It is the only thing besides the stove's fire and the great lamps turning that moves. It is the proof of the heat, the evidence of the comfort. He does not drink. Not yet. It must steep. It must rest. He places a small ceramic lid over the top of the mug, a tiny flat disc that traps the heat and the steam and the aroma, and he lets it be. He lets it sit. He gives it time, just as he gave the fire time. Just as the lighthouse gives time to the night, his ritual of preparation is complete. The light is lit, the fire is burning, the tea is steoping. Now he can sit. He turns to his chair, the old familiar wooden armchair. He sinks into it. Fumph. The woolen cushion is cool, but it takes his weight with a soft, familiar sigh. His body, which has been standing and climbing and working, is now finally at rest. He is supported. He is held. He leans back. The wooden back of the chair is solid against his own. His hands rest on the wooden arms, and the wood is smooth and worn and shaped perfectly to his hands. He is sitting at his desk. To his right, the small black iron stove is now truly radiating. It is a powerful, steady, beautiful wave of dry, intense heat. It warms his entire right side. The cold stone wall and the cold glass windows are defeated. This corner of the room is now a pocket of perfect, solid warmth. The stove is ticking, tink, tink. It is humming its song of heat. On his desk, his tea is steeping. The room is filled with the rhythmic sweep of the golden light. Light. It illuminates his hands resting on the chair. Shadow. They are gone. Light. It flashes on the brass telescope. Shadow. It is dark. The great mechanical whir of the lens, the deep bass moan of the wind, the soft abafado patter of the rain, and the warm, close ticking of the stove. It is all here. He is inside. He is safe. He is warm. He is at the very, very center of his own small, perfect, protected world. He is not waiting. He is not anxious. He is just being. He is the keeper, and he is at peace. He sits in the pulsing golden light. He sits in the warm, safe room. He waits for his tea to brew. He has all the time in the world. Silas sits in his chair, a small, still human shape, held in the heart of the great turning, pulsing room. His world is now a perfect, warm, protected corner. To his right, the stove. It is a solid, black, iron sun. The heat radiates from it in a steady, powerful, invisible wave. A dry, clean, penetrating warmth. It has pushed the cold from the stone. It has pushed the damp from the air. His entire right side is bathed in its profound and steady comfort. The stove is alive, ticking softly as its metal plates expand and shift. Ting. Tink. It is the small, close, warm heartbeat of his personal space. On the desk before him, the tea is steeping. The small ceramic lid traps the heat. He has not lifted it yet. He is letting it work. He is letting the smoky, dark leaves and the bright orange peel unfurl and release their strength into the hot water. It is a small, quiet act of patience, a promise of comfort deferred and made all the more sweet by the waiting. He is comfortable. His body is at rest in the old, familiar wooden chair. The woolen cushion is soft beneath him. The smooth, worn wooden arms are solid beneath his hands. He is at peace. And so, with his own small world in perfect order, he allows his attention to expand. He lifts his gaze past the desk, past the steaming potential of his tea, and he looks out. He looks toward the great, curving glass wall. The eye of the lighthouse, the barrier between his warmth and the wild, dark night. The rhythmic golden light of the great lamp continues its majestic, sweeping turn. Light. The rain on the glass is illuminated, a sheet of gold. Shadow. The glass becomes a black, empty mirror. Light. The iron frames gleam, wet and strong. Shadow, they vanish. And he watches. He observes the night. He observes the storm. The storm has grown. What was a light, tapping patter is now a solid, steady presence. The rain. It is not a gentle spring shower. It is a heavy North Atlantic rain. It is driven by the wind. It does not fall down. It flies sideways. It is a solid, horizontal assault of water flung against the thick glass panes. And it makes a sound, a new sound that has risen in volume to join the symphony. It is the sound of a million tiny liquid fists drumming on the glass. Patter, 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 drum, patter. Patter, drum, patter. It is a constant, steady, rushing sound. A sound of water. A sound of the sky emptying itself. But it is not a frightening sound. It is not a loud or a sharp sound. The glass of the lantern room is not the thin, delicate glass of a cottage window. It is a wall. It is inches thick. It is designed to withstand 1,000 such storms. It is designed to stand against the fury of the sea, and so it muffles the sound, it softens it. It takes the sharp, driving impact of the rain and it transforms it. It turns the sound into a deep, steady, rushing, white noise, a sound like a constant, distant waterfall. A sound that is, in its own powerful way, deeply, profoundly comforting. It is the sound of the outside. It is the sound of the storm, trying and failing to get in. It is a sound that makes the warmth of the stove feel warmer. It is a sound that makes the silence of the room feel deeper. It is the perfect sonic blanket, and the wind. The wind, too, has risen. The low, steady bass moan has now found a new voice. It is no longer just a distant, vibrating presence. It is a full-throated call. It is the sound of the great, open expanse of the sea. The sound of the air moving at great speed over thousands of miles of open, dark water. And it meets, finally, the one single thing that stands in its way. The tower. The solid stone pillar that Silas calls home. The wind hits the stone, and it has to part. It has to split and flow around, and as it does, it sings. It is a low, resonant, powerful hool, a deep pipe organ note. Hoom. It is the sound of immense, harmless power. It is the sound of a giant outside, singing its oldest, deepest song. It is a sound that vibrates deep in his chest. He can feel it in the wooden chair. He can feel it in the floorboards. A low, steady, deep thrumming. The song of the storm. And like the rain, it is not a frightening sound. It is a sound of strength. The strength of the wind and the even greater, more steady, more permanent strength of the tower. The wind is a visitor. The tower is home. The wind is passing. The tower remains. The wind's deep, howling song is a lullaby. A lullaby that speaks of the wildness of the world and the perfect, profound safety of the small, warm room at its very, very top. Silas watches the glass. The sweeping, golden beam of the lamp moves past Sweep, and for a moment the rain is illuminated. It is no longer invisible. For that one, bright, second, the world outside the glass is a chaotic, golden fury. He can see the individual heavy drops frozen in the light like golden BBs. He can see them streaking sideways, so fast they look like solid golden lines. He can see them hit the thick glass, pane, and splatter, explode into a tiny golden starburst of light and water. And then he can see the water, thousands of these splatters merging, forming small rivers on the glass. The rivers run not down but sideways, pushed by the force of the great howling wind. It is a beautiful, violent, and perfectly silent display, a war of golden light and wind and water. And then, shadow. The beam passes. The light is gone. The window is black. The golden, violent fury disappears. It is replaced by the dim, warm reflections of his own small room. He can see, faintly in the dark, wet glass, the ghost of his stove. A small, pulsing, orange square of light, floating in the blackness. He can see the ghost of his own hand, resting on the arm of the chair. He is safe, he is protected. The storm is not his enemy. The storm is his companion. It is the proof of his safety. It is the reminder of why his light is so important. Out there in that howling black wet chaos, his light, his great golden sweeping beam, is the only single thing that says, I am here. This is the stone. This is the shore. You are safe. His light is the stove for the whole wide world. And he, Silas, is the keeper. He sits in his perfect, warm, still center. He is held. He is rocked gently by the deep, vibrating thrum of the wind. He is drummed softly by the steady, rushing patter of the rain. He is warmed by the ticking, glowing iron heart of his stove. And he is pulsed by the slow, steady, majestic rhythm of his great golden lamp. Light. The rain is gold. Shadow. The stove is a dim, warm ghost light. The room is bright. Shadow. The room is soft. He closes his eyes just for a moment. He does not need to see. He can feel, he can hear, he can smell. The scent of the pinewood smoke from his tea and his stove, the sound of the wind and the rain and the clockwork and the fire, the feeling of the heat on his skin, the feeling of the chair solid beneath him, the feeling of the tower vibrating with the deep song of the storm. It is all one perfect sensation. It is the sensation of absolute and total peace. He sits. He is a still point in the turning, pulsing world. The storm has reached its full majestic voice. The wind howls its deep pipe organ note. Hoom! It is a constant vibrating presence. A sound so low it is felt more than it is heard. The rain is a solid, steady, rushing drumming on the thick glass wall. Patter-drum, patter-drum. It is a sound of wild, cold, liquid energy. A sound of the outside. And inside the room answers. The small black stove ticks its sharp, metallic counter-rhythm. Ting. Oh. Tink. It is the sound of the heat. The sound of the iron, strong and solid, holding the fire. The great brass clockwork hums its own steady mechanical song. Way. It is the sound of purpose, the sound of the great golden light turning, always turning. And the light itself sweeps the room. Light, a brilliant golden flash on the brass telescope. Shadow. The room sinks into a warm, soft dimness light. The rain is a sheet of golden, chaotic beauty. Shadow. The window is a black, reflecting ghost. This is the world. It is a symphony of wild, vast power and small, steady, contained comfort. And Silas. Silas is the conductor. He is the center. He decides it is time. He leans forward slowly, out of the comfortable, slouched posture of his chair. His hand moves from the smooth, worn wooden arm. He reaches for the desk. He reaches for the tea. His hand, illuminated for a second by the sweeping golden light, is steady. He places his fingers on the small ceramic lid that covers his mug. He lifts it. The lid is hot, a deep, pleasant heat that has captured the steam. He lifts it away, and the tea is released. A great white, beautiful cloud of steam billows upward. It is no longer the thin, delicate wisp. This is a robust, thick cloud of pure aromatic steam. It mushrooms into the cool, dark air of the room, catches the light, glows like a golden cloud, and then it vanishes, dissolving into the shadows. And with it comes the scent. It is no longer a promise. It is a fulfillment. The smell of the lapsang souchong is powerful. It is the smell of the pinewood fire, smoky and rich and earthy. It is the smell of a forest, a campfire, a place of deep primal safety. And mixed with it, the bright, sharp, sweet note of the orange peel, a high citrus tang that cuts through the smoke, and beneath it all the faint, warm, spicy note of the clove. It is the smell of warmth. It is the smell of resilience. It is the smell of his home. He sets the small, hot lid down on the desk. It makes a soft ceramic tink. His gaze is on the mug, the cream-colored ceramic mug now filled with a liquid so dark it is almost black. A rich, dark, reddish-brown. The surface is still, and from it the steam continues to rise, a new steady wisp, dancing in the moving air. He reaches for the mug. His hand wraps around the ceramic. It is no longer cool. The entire vessel is now a solid, heavy object of pure, penetrating warmth. It is hot. It is a perfect, hand-filling heat. His fingers curl around it. His palm presses against it. He can feel the faint, raised ridges of the potter's wheel in the ceramic. It is a solid, real grounding object. He lifts it. The mug is heavy, heavy with water and with heat. He lifts it from the desk. The wood of the desk is now dark and empty, where the mug once sat. He brings the mug toward him. He leans back, sinking into his chair, bringing his prize with him. He is now once again a creature of comfort. Slouched in his chair, held by the woolen cushion, warmed by the stove to his right, and holding in both hands this perfect, dark, steaming cup. He holds it under his face for a moment. He does not drink. He just breathes. He breathes in, and the steam and the aroma flood his senses. It is a pure inhalation of smoke and orange and spice. It is warm and moist, and it feels like he is drinking the very essence of the stove's fire. It is a deeply comforting and profoundly calming ritual. He breathes out, a sigh of contentment, and now he drinks. He lifts the heavy mug. He feels the smooth ceramic rim touch his lower lip. It is hot. He tilts the cup slowly, and a small, perfectly controlled sip of the hot, dark liquid passes his lips. It crosses the threshold. It is in. And it isn't hot. It is a bright, wonderful, clean heat. And with the heat comes the taste. It is a strong, brave taste. It is not shy. First, the smoke, the rich earthy pinewood lapsang flavor. It is the taste of the fire, the taste of the stove. It is bold and grounding. Then immediately the bright high note of the orange, a sweet citrus tang that dances on the surface of the smoke. And finally, as he is about to swallow, the deep, warm, lingering spice of the clove, a small warm echo at the back of his throat. It is a perfect, complex and powerful balance. It is the taste of his lighthouse, wild and strong but also bright and warm. He swallows, and the liquid, hot and flavorful, travels down. It is a river of warmth, a line of internal heat. He can feel it, a golden trail moving down his throat, settling deep in his chest. It is a wonderful, spreading sensation. It is like swallowing a small, gentle, glowing ember, a warmth that now joins the external radiant heat from the stove. He is now being warmed from the inside and from the outside. He is invincible. He is a creature of pure, warm comfort. He lowers the mug just slightly. He holds it in his lap, cradled in both hands. A sphere of heat, a personal sun. He looks past the mug out the window. The storm is still there. The rain is still drumming. The wind is still howling. The great golden light is still sweeping. Light, a flash of golden chaotic rain shadow, his own dim reflection. And he takes another sip, slower this time. He savors it, the heat, the smoke, the orange, the spice. He swallows. The warmth spreads. It is a deep, penetrating calm. It is the perfect antidote to the wild, cold world just inches away on the other side of the glass. He is the scribe. He is the keeper. He is the watcher, and he is at peace. He sits in his old wooden chair. He sits in the pulsing golden light. He sits warmed by his fire and his tea. He listens to the symphony of the storm and the machine, the howl of the wind, the drum of the rain, the tick of the stove, the whir of the lens. And he holds his own small warm center, his dark, steaming cup. He is in no hurry. He will make this cup last. He will sip it slowly. Each sip a small ritual of warmth. Each sip a small act of quiet defiance against the cold. Each sip a moment of pure, profound peace. The lighthouse is doing its job. The stove is doing its job. And now Silas is doing his. He is resting. He is watching. He is being. He is home. He sits, the keeper, the watcher. He holds the cup in his hands, the last of the dark, smoky liquid gone. All that remains is the profound, solid warmth of the ceramic, a deep residual heat that soaks into his palms. He holds it for a long, quiet moment. A small ceramic sun, a finished ritual. He leans forward slowly, moving his body from the deep, soft embrace of the chair. He places the empty, cream-colored mug back on the dark wooden desk. It makes a soft, solid, final clink. The sound of completion. A gentle full stop. His work is done. His ritual of comfort is complete. He sinks back. He lets his body go fully into the chair. Foomph. The woolen cushion accepts his weight. It is a soft, warm cloud beneath him. His head rests against the tall wooden back. His hands, now empty and warm and heavy, rest upon the smooth, worn wooden arms. His feet are flat on the floor. He is grounded. He is supported. He is held. There is nothing left to do. Nothing but be. Nothing but to watch. Nothing but to listen, and so he does. His senses are wide open, but they are no longer sharp. They are soft. They are blended. All the sensations of the room, the storm, and the machine have merged. They have become one single vast and profoundly comforting presence. A living, breathing atmosphere of safety. His eyes are open, but they are heavy. He watches the light. The great golden pulse of the turning lamp. It is the rhythm of his world. The slow, steady beat light. The far stone wall is illuminated, a brilliant golden curved shadow. The wall vanishes into a soft, warm darkness, lit only by the red-orange pulse of the stove. Light. The brass telescope on his desk flares, a bar of solid gold shadow. It is gone, light. The window explodes into a chaotic, beautiful fury of golden rain and streaks of light. Shadow. The window becomes a black, peaceful mirror, reflecting the dim orange heart of the stove. The rhythm is slow. It is a waltz, a slow, steady 1, 2, 3, light, shadow, shadow, light, shadow, shadow. His eyelids are so heavy. They feel as though they are made of warm lead. It is a pleasant, wonderful weight. He watches the light sweep, and he blinks. A long, slow, delicious blink. The world disappears into a perfect, warm blackness. He opens his eyes. The light is gone. He is in the shadow. He waits. His eyes heavy, heavy, sweep. The light returns. He watches it through half-closed lids. It is so bright and so warm. He blinks again. Longer this time. It feels so good to let them close. It is the most natural feeling in the world. He opens them to the shadow. The dim orange pulsing glow of the stove. It is a softer, easier light. A sleeping light. His hearing too has softened. The sounds have all merged. The wild howling howl of the wind. The steady rushing drum of the rain. The small close metallic tink, tink of the stove. The great constant mechanical whir of the lens. These are no longer four separate sounds. They are one. They are the song of the lighthouse. They are the sound of the night. It is a single, complex, deep and vibrant hum. A symphony of safety. A perfect sonic blanket. It wraps around him. It is a physical presence. A low, gentle vibration that he can feel from the floor through the chair into his bones. The tower is singing. It is singing its song of strength. It is singing its song of safety, and it is singing its song to him. It is a lullaby, a deep bass thrumming lullaby, hum drum tink whir, over and over and over, a perfect endless repeating loop of comfort. And the feeling, the warmth. It is absolute. The stove to his right is a small, powerful sun. Its radiant heat has soaked into his clothes, into his skin, into his muscles, into his bones. His entire right side is glowing with a deep, penetrating, heavy warmth. And the warmth from the tea, that small ember of heat, is still glowing in his center. He is warmed from the inside and from the outside. He is a creature of pure warmth. The cold is a distant memory, a theoretical concept, a story from the other side of the glass. It cannot touch him. It will never touch him. He is completely and profoundly safe. His thoughts begin to slow. They are no longer sharp and clear. They are like the steam from his tea. They rise and they curl and they gently dissipate. They become part of the air. They melt into the room. He thinks dimly of the light, his great golden light. It is out there, sweeping, sweeping, warning the ships, guarding the stones. It is doing its job. He thinks dimly of the tower, his great stone tower. It is standing. It is strong. It does not bend. It does not yield. It is feeling the wind and the rain. And it is singing. It is doing its job. He thinks dimly of the stove, his small iron heart. It is burning. It is bright. It is hot. It is ticking. It is doing its job. The lighthouse is doing its job. The stove is doing its job. And he, Silas the keeper, his job is to watch. And he is watching. He is watching the room from behind his heavy, heavy eyelids. He is listening. He is feeling. His job is to be here. And he is here. And so his job is done. He has permission. He can rest. He can let go. The gravity of sleep is now irresistible. It is not a fall. It is a sinking. A slow, gentle, delicious sinking. He is sinking into the chair. The woolen cushion is rising up to meet him, to hold him. He is sinking into the warmth. The heat from the stove is a thick, heavy velvet blanket that is being pulled gently over him. He is sinking into the sound. The great humming lullaby of the tower is the water in a warm, dark sea, and he is floating in it, floating and sinking all at the same time. His breath. He becomes aware of his own breath. He is breathing slowly. So slowly. He breathes in, and the air is warm and it smells of smoke and faintly of salt. He breathes out, a long, slow sigh. His breath is now part of the song. The howl of the wind, the drum of the rain, the tick of the stove, the whir of the lens, and the slow, steady hee of his own breath. It is the final instrument, the human instrument, and it plays in perfect time. Light, he breathes in, shadow. He breathes out, shadow. He rests, light. He breathes in, shadow. He breathes out, shadow. He rests, his eyelids are closed. They are no longer heavy. They are simply closed. The pulsing golden light is gone. The golden rain is gone. The desk, the cup, the telescope are gone. There is only the warm, comfortable darkness. A darkness that is not empty. A darkness that is full. Full of the sound. The deep vibrating hoom, drum, tink, whir. Full of the feeling. The steady, radiant heat on his right side. The solid support of the chair beneath him. Full of the smell. The smoky, comforting aroma of his home. He is no longer Silas. He is no longer the keeper. He is a part of the tower. He is a part of the night. He is a small, warm, still center of a great, turning, stormy world. And he is perfectly, completely, and profoundly at peace. He is drifting. He is floating. He is sinking. He is home. And it is time. To sleep, sleep now. The light is on. The tower is strong. The fire is warm. You are safe. You are held, rest, sleep. Good night.